The federal government just wiped out over $1 billion in funding for critical food programs. For 57,000 people across Tennessee, that means losing the SNAP benefits they rely on to afford their next meal. It is a crisis happening right in the shadow of rapid development. Here in Nashville, the downtown skyline is packed with construction cranes and luxury high-rises. But if you look at zip code 37208, sitting right next to that new wealth, 17.3% of households rely on cash assistance or SNAP just to survive. People often assume hunger is a geography problem, that vulnerable neighborhoods simply lack a grocery store. Having a supermarket down the street means nothing if you can't afford the price of admission. Hunger in 37208 is a symptom of poverty, and this impending crisis is the culmination of a very specific, long-term hollowing of this community. To see how a community is engineered for poverty, you have to look at the 1940s. That is when the Homeowners Loan Corporation officially redlined North Nashville. By marking this specific area as hazardous for lending, banks systematically cut off residents from mortgages and capital. Then came the physical barrier. The construction of Interstate 40 plowed directly through Jefferson Street, destroying a thriving corridor of Black-owned businesses and cultural landmarks. This massive concrete divide isolated the remaining residents and drained home equity overnight. Families were trapped. Without the ability to secure loans or build property value, the localized economy stagnated, locking multiple generations into a persistent cycle of poverty. These targeted policies engineered a baseline of isolation that transformed North Nashville into a landscape where economic recovery was physically and legally blocked. Fast forward to today, and capital is flooding back into 37208. New, expensive developments are popping up inches away from older, deteriorating properties. This influx of wealth drives up property values across the board. For the longtime residents, that means skyrocketing property taxes and surging apartment rents they simply cannot absorb. A single parent in Davidson County needs over $99,000 to afford necessities, yet the median income in 37208 is just $41,510. As new wealth arrives, the neighborhood's poverty percentage shrinks on paper, but the raw count of vulnerable people, like 1,800 elderly residents, remains unchanged. And this is precisely when the government decided to pull the plug. The 2025 federal cuts to SNAP and local food programs hit right as the cost of living peaks. Residents who try to work more hours face the benefits cliff, a trap where earning just a few extra dollars pushes them over an income threshold, stripping away their assistance and leaving them entirely worse off. Modern development simply raised the cost of remaining in the area at the exact moment the government removed the final lifelines. On a national scale, these cuts to SNAP and Medicaid carry heavy consequences, with projections indicating a loss of over 1 million jobs. When grocery budgets vanish, consumer spending plummets. That drop hurts local food retailers, strains farmers who rely on those sales, and throttles the broader economic engine. Charitable organizations are already buckling under the pressure. Facilities like the Second Harvest Food Bank are losing crucial federal supplies and cannot physically absorb the massive overflow of hungry families. We have to rethink what food access actually means. Access is dictated by purchasing power. Living a block away from a supermarket doesn't put food on the table if you're a senior citizen with limited mobility, whose fixed income is entirely consumed by surging property taxes. This map shows households receiving SNAP benefits between 2009 and 2013. The dark red highlights dense participation in Western 37208. Now look at 2019 to 2023. Despite rapid citywide development, that Western section remains trapped in the highest tier of assistance reliance. Hunger is the visible symptom of a deeply rooted economic disease. You cannot fix it by simply building a closer grocery store. Solving this requires protecting basic financial lifelines and actively reversing the generational policies that emptied these pockets in the first place.